Hey YouTubers, welcome to the video. Thank you for tuning in. So more than likely you've clicked on this video because you need some more information on how to get into motorsports. We're going to be talking about the most fundamental form of motorsports there is, and that's karting. So a lot of you would have been down to your local hire kart place. Now if you haven't guys, do yourself a favour, get together some family and friends, head on down to your local hire kart place, thrash your karts around, you're going to have a mad time. So years back when I made the decision that I wanted to start karting competitively, I wanted to do my research. So I did the natural thing of going onto Google, looking at different karting websites, looking at manufacturers' websites, and even I went onto YouTube to even watch some videos as well. Unfortunately, I left a little bit more confused than when I started. So in this video, I'm going to keep it as basic as possible. I'm going to explain all about the karts, the equipment that's needed to get started, and also the different types of classes that are available to race in. So most F1 drivers, supercar drivers, NASCAR, IndyCar drivers all started somewhere in karting. Now it's one of the most affordable forms of motorsports, and it doesn't matter what age you're at, what gender, what background, everyone's welcome down at the kart track, and it's a real family feel down there. It's really sociable down at the kart track as well, so if you've got mates to start karting with initially, good. If not and you're by yourself, don't worry because you're going to get heaps of help and you're going to make heaps of mates down at the track. As you might be able to tell from my accent, I'm actually from Australia. But it doesn't matter where you're from in the world. Generally the classes are fairly similar, but I do always recommend you to check up with your local clubs or governing body to find the latest rules and regulations. Okay, now that you've made the decision that you want to get into karting, we're going to get into special ops mode now. There's 3 things that I want you to do. Number 1, check on Google for your local kart clubs in your region and also the karting governing body as well. Get onto their website, find their information, and contact those clubs. 2, find out when the next practice session is on, or even better, if there's a race day that's on. Head on down to the track, have a look around so you can see the format of a race day or a practice layout. 3, lastly and most importantly, your mission, if you accept, is to go speak to 3 different karters out there. Now the reason why I want you to speak to 3 different people is because the last thing you want to do is speak to one person, though they're giving you good information. Everyone's different and they're all going to have their favorite brands of karts, they're all going to have their opinions on the engines to run, so you don't want to be pointed in one direction. Anyways, speak to 3 different karters, that way you're going to get a good mix of information and opinions, and don't be shy because karters love talking about their go-karts. Basics of a kart. So with a basic go-kart, there is no form of suspension, so there's no springs, no dampers to help you get through those corners. So where it gets its suspension from is within the flex from the chassis itself or the frame. Now, something that also affects it is the frame itself, so it can be anything from 28 to 32 millimeters in thickness. Obviously, the more thicker it is, the more firm it's going to be, and 28 millimeters is going to be a little bit more softer, so to speak, giving you softer characteristics or a little bit more flex in that chassis. Now, all manufacturers from either Europe, Australia, or from America have got their own blend of metals that they use to be able to make their chassis. And I think the real art of it is really finding out what combination or mixture of metals work well for certain conditions or regions of the world. So moving next on to the tyres. Now most of the time you're going to be running pretty much slicks all the time, meaning that there's no grooves in the tyre, giving you maximum amount of track surface on the tyres there. Now, the moment that the track is declared wet by the officials, you then have the option to run wet tyres which have grooves in them and disperse water really well, therefore giving you more grip in wet conditions. Now, due to safety, most go-karts now are going to be running pods. So what pods are is things like the side pod here on each side, the front bar here, which is ultimately like a big pod. There's something called a nacelle panel as well, which is pretty much here for wind resistance and also a little bit of protection as well. And then also the rear bar as well. So we've got pods all around, and it's a lot more safe. I think back in the days when people first started karting, there wasn't much things like pods, so wheels could really get tangled up quite often, therefore causing like flips or accidents. But yeah, it's really alleviated now with these pods. Now pretty much exclusively all the go-karts are going to be rear-wheel drive only, so the power goes through the rear axles only, and the braking system is on the rear as well. Now some karts, as you're getting into the faster karts, like the opens, like say for example the KZ shifter karts, and also the open performance car classes where they have sometimes twin engines on them, they're going to need a lot more stopping power, so they're going to have disc brakes at the front of the kart as well. Now the seat is quite an important part of the kart for a few reasons. Well, one, you're going to have to get a seat that really fits you really firmly. You want to be really firm in the seat, and you don't want any gaps on the side as you're cornering. If there is a little bit of movement there, it actually can really affect the characteristics of the kart going through the corner. On top of the steering wheel here, we've got a lot of people run data telemetry or data loggers. So what they do is they do a couple of different things. They're actually good for, obviously, one, telling your lap times, but two, they actually record a lot of information as well. So things like the water temperature, they can record things like the exhaust temperature, your revolutions per minute, and then also your speed that you're going as well. Now these systems, if you plug them, depending on which one you get, if you plug them into a computer and download the company's software, you're actually able to find out in particular corners or sections of corners how much revs you have, what speeds you're doing. So it's really, I mean, it's almost moving into, could I say, Formula One in terms of collecting data and being able to look back at that and seeing if you can improve in certain areas or certain corners of the track. A lot of your kart setup happens here in the front end. It's really important to understand as a beginner not to be overwhelmed by adjusting too many things here. Best thing to do is just leave it in a real manufacturer's setting or a recommended setting, and from there improving most of your lap times is going to be up to your driving ability and improving your driving techniques. You can adjust things like the camber angle, caster angle, and toe in and toe out. So when you start karting, you're going to have to consider how you're going to get your kart to and from the track as well. So this is my trailer here. It's just a basic one kart trailer. It's very simplistic. The top opens up like so, and it's really basic for me to be able to get my kart in and out of this trailer, especially when I'm at the track by myself on a practice day. Storage is another consideration as well. You're going to need storage for your tools and spares. Obviously, once you've decided what class you're going to be in, find out the dimensions of the kart and make sure that the kart's going to physically fit in whatever form of transport you've got. Safety equipment. A full-faced helmet. A race suit. Some race boots. Socks. Dear God, please wear some socks. Gloves. A rib protector so you can be snug in the seat. Lastly, not required but recommended, a neck brace. Common expenses. Tyres. 2-stroke race oil. Different size sprockets for different gearing. Chains. Chain lube. And more tyres. Recommended tools. A kart trolley to haul your kart around the track. A jerry can for your fuel. A set of spanners. Socket set. A pump or an air compressor. Tyre pressure gauge. A pair of pliers, snips and a hammer. Hex keys, or also known as Allen keys. A Phillips and a flathead screwdriver. Cable ties. Spark plug wrench and a measuring tape. Which class? Alright guys, so we're going to be getting on to the different types of classes that are available for you to jump into. So most classes go from age group, so starting at a younger age up into the senior classes. But first up, we're going to be speaking about the pre-DRT class. So the pre-DRT class is a class where younger drivers can get in and practice, but they're not allowed to race their go-karts. It's a class where they have an opportunity to build their driver skills, their racecraft, and just get more familiar with being on the track around other karts and more comfortable. So once you turn 7, you're then eligible to race against other drivers on the track. Now before you can do that, you're going to have a basic test. Now it's a theory test. It's usually got to do with safety and the different types of flags. Once you've completed that, you then do an observed license test, meaning that an official from the club is going to watch you do laps around the track. They're going to time you as well to make sure that you're about up to race speed. Alright guys, so you've seen my mug for long enough. So for the next section, we're going to have different drivers explain their individual classes. And this way it'll help you understand maybe what class to get into. So first up, I've got a Cadet 9 driver, young Thundercat, Connor Radford. Little man, tell me about your class.
Connor Radford, Cadet 9. I'm in the Cadet 9 class. This is a Vortex Mini Rock, and it has like 8.5 horsepower. It's an air-cooled 2-stroke engine, so all the experience with all the drivers, how you race, all the good racing. It would be good for them to start karting. They would have to go in another person's car, or they have their own car, and if they want to do it, they have to get a practice license or go have a go.
Hey, I'm Sachen Smith-Wei. I am 9 years old and I race in Cadet 12 with Dicker Motorsport and Flatout Karts. I've been racing in places like China, Malaysia, Japan, Macau and Australia. I'm currently the Western Australian state champion. This is a cadet size kart. It's an hour from Flatout Karts. This is a Vortex engine. It's got 12 horsepower and it's unrestricted.
I'm Sam Dicker from Dicker Motorsport and Flatout Karts, and I'm Sachen's driver coach. So Sachen won the state championship in Cadet 9, so we decided to move him up to Cadet 12 as soon as we could. We actually snuck him up a couple months early and got him up there while he was 8 years old. This year we've taken Sachen over to the Australian Kart Championships. Cadet 12's been the biggest class with 80 entries at the first round. It's the most subscribed class there, and we've had some really good results over there. It's been a successful year so far.
Hi, my name is Bree Rhodes. I race for Dalvin and Flatout Karts. So the class is KA4 Junior. It is from ages 12 to 16. In my class we run an IAME KA100, which has 100cc and about 40 horsepower. So this is the junior chassis. We run it in KA4 Junior. So essentially you go straight from a cadet to a junior kart, and it's about it's really quite narrower and shorter lengthwise to a senior chassis. So my most favourite things about karting would mostly be, the competitive racing with other drivers, the friendly environment that every club gives. They just have a canteen. They also you're just driving competitively, and it's so energizing and exciting. Yeah, definitely. I definitely recommend go-karting. It's just so fun, and the night before I can hardly sleep. I'm so excited about it every day. You start off slow, everyone starts at the same pace, but eventually you get faster and faster. And there will be new kids coming in, you'll think, wow, I was at that stage once, look where I am now.
Riley Trager, KA3 Junior. In the KA3 Junior class, people can race from ages 13 to 16. This is a KA100 motor. It's got approximately 20 horsepower and it's air-cooled. I run KA3 Junior, and this is a senior chassis. We choose to run a senior chassis due to the fact it sort of releases better off the corner and has better balance. I like karting because we get to reach speeds of upwards of 100 kilometers an hour, and it's a very rewarding sport when you're up the front, but there is very big lows in the sport as well. But the best part about it is mostly the teamwork and the ridership in the team. Well, if you're looking to get into karts, it's a very easy motorsport to get into. It's a lot cheaper than cars, and you don't have to be as old. You can race from 7 all the way up to 70. And it's pretty much as easy as going online and trying to find maybe a second-hand car or a brand new one and purchasing it off the owner, and then you'll be welcomed into the community with open arms.
Caprice Hawk, KA3 Senior. In KA3 I run a full senior car. In my class we run the KA100 unrestricted, and as you can see through the fins that it's air-cooled, not radiated-cooled, and it's around 20 horsepower. My favourite things about karting is being in a community that are supportive of everyone, and just the general atmosphere of just racing with your friends, and then afterwards being able to go hang out in the canteen and have a good time. For anyone that wants to get into karting, I would recommend going down to your local club, having a chat with anyone down there, because we're not afraid to talk to you, and it's always good to see new faces down at the kart track.
Yeah, hi, I'm Mike Clark. I race in the restricted 125 Masters. We run 125cc two-stroke engines. These are restricted. They run roughly 21 horsepower. It's 3 different types of engines used. The most popular is the IME X30, and then you've got the Rotax. So I've had a lot of fun with the Rotax. There's a couple of different versions of that, and then there's the Galaxy engine, and yeah, so it doesn't matter what you come with. They're all competitive, and they're all a bucket load of fun. So we run Masters is anything over 40 years old. And we've got drivers that are competitive in their 60s against the 40-year-olds. So it means that I don't need to run with the 16 and 18-year-olds. I've been doing this with my son since he was 14. He's now 24, so we're coming up to 10 years. And for any parent that wants to get their kids involved and run this together, I mean, Dan and I have been fortunate because we've actually raced together many times. Most of the time he kicks my butt, but anyway. But to be able to do that with your son, it's a very family orientated sport. Contact your local club. There's people like me around, and there's lots of people that will be, really happy to help you and get you started. And if it's anything like, if the bug bites you, you're finished. You're onto it. Good on you. Come go-kart racing.
Hi, I'm Kip Foster. I'm the owner of Kart Force and the KF Kart brand. Well, I've been racing karts for 35 years. I've raced all different classes. I really love the 125 category. It's my sort of special class that I like. And I've won 5 Australian Championships. I've won 3 times in Las Vegas and at the Super Nationals. And I've also won a World Championship in the X30 category in 2014. Okay, so tag is the touch and go. Start and stop button on the left-hand side. That'll get you going and stop. The 125 is a 125cc engine, and it's a 2-stroke engine. So you'll have to run 2-stroke fuel, so unleaded fuel mixed with 20:1 ratio with oil, and that'll be your 2-stroke mix. Yeah, so you'll find that the tag 125 class are all water cooled. Some will have the radiator in a different position. The Rotax will be right beside the engine, so it's easy to recognise. Obviously the X30, some of the other engines are all on the left-hand side of the car, which balances it out quite nicely. Okay, so we incorporate either a 30 or 32mm frame, 50mm rear axle. When you enter tag 125 restricted for the first time, you have to start on a restricted license. The class is very fast, so what they do is we fit a restrictor in the exhaust system. There's an open one, there's a restricted one. The open one is 28 horsepower, the restricted one is 22 horsepower. So it just takes it down 25-27% on the power, but you've still got the same product, all the same gear. So that once you've gone off your restricted license onto your unrestricted license, all you do is just fit the open manifold, then you've got the full power of the product. You do not have to invest in any more hardware, and you'll just have to hold on and go very fast. And then also the tyres will change. So with the restricted category, we use a harder compound tyre. That's obviously to get the mileage a bit longer, keep the cost down, but also keep the speed down a little bit too. When we go to the unrestricted one, we put on a faster, softer compound. The G-forces are lifted, the speed is lifted, the reaction time is less, and so it becomes more of an expert category. And that's what's made this class and the X30 the most popular class in the world. Well, obviously the new kart's going to cost quite a bit more money. You obviously don't have the issues with the engine and the condition of the kart. You know that it's in perfect condition, but probably for a little bit more than half the cost, you can probably pick up a second-hand one, maybe a year or 2 old. I mean, this is a second-hand kart you see right here, and realistically, it's going to go just as good as a brand new product. There will be a little bit of wear on it, so you may have to service an engine, or you may have to service a brakes, or a couple of little bits and pieces, but you'll keep the cost right down, and you'll still have the same enjoyment. So realistically, if we point out the right areas to look for, I think you can probably pick up a second-hand car at the right price, get into the sport and really enjoy it and see if you love it, and if you do, you can always upgrade it later. The first thing I advise people to look for is the wear on the chassis. So underneath the main chassis rails, under here, in the waist section of the kart, at the front, and you'll feel and have a look underneath and see if the bars are worn out. Have a good look under there. Look for cracks, look for wear, and if the kart looks in good condition, chances are it is. The next thing I'd probably look at is the brake system. You really need to give a good test on the brake and make sure you've got a strong, hard pedal. Also go to the back caliper, have a look for any leakage, any build-up of fluid that perhaps has come from that system over time.
Melinda Sully, open performance, driving a twin engine car. The open class here, most people run twin engines, as you can see here. So it's got, altogether, it's probably got a top speed of maybe 170, 180, depending how you gear it. The engines themselves can be air-cooled or water-cooled. We also run, in the open class, we run front brakes here. Because we have such high top speed and more power than most of the other classes, we need a lot more pulling up. There's different kinds of engines everyone runs. You can run twins in the open class, or you can run a KZ, or you can also run single karts. So it's a very mixture class. It's one of the higher end classes, so you do need to be a senior over 16 years and you have to have a B or A grade license to run it.
Hi, I'm Damon Papasergio and I race the Kaiser To category. In the Kaiser To class, we use a 6-speed gearbox engine. This is the shifter. You've got a clutch for the starts. You don't need to use the clutch when you're changing gears, just on the starts. In this class, I use the TM engine. Makes around about 49 horsepower, reaching top speeds of up to 130 kilometers per hour, depending on the track. In this class, we run 2 disc brakes on each side at the front to help slow us down because we're going so fast. Yeah, so we use the MG yellow tyres. They're the grippiest option that we have.
Daniel Ram 4-stroke Super Sprint. This is the 4SS, which is the new class that the Karting in Australia have basically introduced this year. It's designed predominantly to be an entry-level class, somewhere in between the super fast stuff and the people that are really going and enjoying their hire karts. The whole engine package itself is about $1,400, which is way less than most other classes. So you can have a brand new kart, or you can pick something up for $500 or $600, fit an engine, put some tyres on and go racing. It's great fun. But with the 4-stroke, it's pull and go, so you don't have to worry about anything really. I mean, I don't even change this chassis anymore, and it goes like a rocket. This class is probably a very good class because if you can master how to drive one of these, then when you take the step up to the next level, you're going to be very smooth, very consistent, and probably go very well.
Guys, thank you for making it to the end of the video. If you've got any questions, please comment below. I'm also going to leave all the details of any businesses that were in this video down there as well. And also, I'm actually going to leave my personal email down there below as well, just in case you need to contact me. If you have any questions, need a hand, I can help point you in the right direction, guys. Thank you for all the drivers that were involved in the making of this video, and hopefully, guys, we'll see you down at the track as well. See you later.
Come down and have a go on one of our have a go days. Come down, check out a club meet, a race day, anything like that. We're all willing to chuck them in the cart, let them have a go.
My favourite things about karting is speed and hanging out with my mates and friends and family.
For anyone getting into karting, I highly recommend. People down here is awesome. It's cheap form of motorsport and it's awesome racing.
How long have you been karting for?
2 to 3 years.
Nice, yeah. What do you like about karting the most?
That it gives you something to do on the weekends and it's just something fun to do.
What would you say to those new kids that want to try go-karting?
I like to say absolutely just go for it. It's so much fun and you can just go down and have a go, and if you don't like it, but if you can, just buy a car. Mum and Dad bring me down and they give me lots of tips to make me faster.
I've been racing for 5 years and in Cadet 12. Yeah, I think it brings me and my dad closer because it's a sport that we can do together. That it's fun and it brings your family closer and you'll probably be doing for a long time.